Welcome to Life is for Living. I've got David J Riddell from the School of Living Wisdom with me. And
Yes.
today, David, let's talk about the effects of those that have been under narcissistic abuse for a period of time. This is actually really common, especially nowadays, I believe.
Yes, we have created decades and generations of people who are more narcissistic, perhaps, than in former times. It's always been an issue for humanity, but we're talking here about people who are brought up in the absence of love. They're brought up incapable of love. There's lots of people who are selfish. They don't qualify necessarily as narcissists. The narcissistic qualification or diagnosis applies more to people who are incapable of sympathy and empathy, almost a low grade psychopath, shall we say. And for them, their whole life is really about keeping their head above water. Narcissists are drowning in slow motion. It's panic in slow motion, panic that allows them to only be thinking about their own selves and their own survival and how things are going to work out for them. They don't have much mental space for how things feel or are working out for their victims, their spouses, or even their children. And so this lack of good old fashioned high level respect and consideration is simply absent. I find these are the people that don't practice respect because they never grew up with it. Uh, the show of respect is not part of their upbringing. And so they can abuse you, verbally yell at you, mistreat, manipulate, gaslight, and they're not setting out to be evil or destructive. They're just doing it because it was normalized in their own family.
Right.
Gaslighting is normal in some families. It's the means of control. It's how the pecking order is maintained. And when I say gaslighting, I mean any form of manipulation at all, any form of coercion that is subtle, not necessarily blackmail. That term is terribly overused.
Mhm.
And I think that narcissistic disorder is becoming overused as well.
Mhm.
We're really talking here about someone who's incapable of love, someone for whom everything comes back to how it affects them. So they're not going to live considerately, they're not going to live respectfully, and they're going to bust up pretty much every relationship they ever get into. But of course, they can't be guilty, they can't be at fault. They're terribly, terribly frightened of feeling guilty or inadequate or powerless. And so they've developed a high level ability to make it look like somebody else's fault. And if you're the one who loves them or lives with them or lives under them, well, lucky old you, you're going to get dumped on whenever they're threatened by their unbearable feelings of shame, rejection, guilt, or inadequacy or powerlessness.
Mhm.
So the picture of somebody drowning in slow motion I find to be a good one. And if you're going to swim out and try and rescue one of these dudes, you better be a good swimmer because they are going to take you down if that means they can keep their head above water for that much longer.
Hmm. So if somebody has been in a relationship, whether it's a parent or a partner, that husband or wife that has these tendencies of narcissism, um, you know, that must be very difficult for them to sort of come out of and to be able to, what's the effects of it there for the victims? How do they normally turn out? Do they take a long time to work it out, or?
Well, the tragedy is that narcissistic personality disorder are very good at finding codependent people to live off and to live on. And so they usually choose rescuers, people who are overdosed in compassion, people who are overdosed in consideration, often overdosed in love. And so when they are men, they find women that love too much. When they are women, they find men that can meet all their needs or try to.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get these terrible collusions in relationships that help to keep the narcissist's head above water and help to keep the dependent person's head underwater. And I've got to tell you that treating a client who's lived with this long-term selfishness is a pretty difficult job. They've got used to being abused. They've got used to expecting the unexpected. They've got used to living on red alert. They've got used to feeling yelled at and verbally abused. And now they wonder if they deserve anything better. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, these characters that end up divorcing them or being divorced send them packing with a curse that follows them. For example, you won't find anybody else, no other man would have you. You're such a lunatic, or you're such a liability, or something. And by this time, of course, women being responsive and receptive to what a man thinks of them can end up feeling like they have no value or worth at all, which makes them, of course, a bit more dependent and a bit more compliant. And of course, compliance is exactly what's wanted.
And the pattern repeats, maybe.
Well, that's why I wrote this poster called This is What Respect Actually Looks Like, because I was meeting so many people in codependent relationships who not only were not practicing mutual respect, they didn't actually know what the practice of respect looked like. They'd never seen it growing up. And so they thought it was normal to manipulate, to coerce, to threaten. They thought it was normal to yell and scream and undermine. For them, it wasn't out of nature because it had been normalized in their own backgrounds.
Well, that's a biggie. So therefore, so someone that's been through all of this, then I think for them it's really about building themselves up, isn't it? It's about knowing who they are, um, knowing where their faith lies and their foundation and their
Well,
themselves.
that's the theory, but how do you draw from the well if the well's already dry? This is where you need counseling, therapy, some nurturing person to put back into you and to help you work out which way is up. Because by this time, you're not sure which way to go or which way is up. And you
Mm-hmm.
need somebody to help you and to know when your feelings are telling you the truth and when your feelings are reflecting the distorted perception of the person you've been living with.
Right.
Because what happens is that once we leave the narcissist or the narcissist leaves us, we carry their abuse on for them in the back of our minds. And we go on talking to ourselves the way we were spoken to. We go on belittling ourselves or hating ourselves the way we were belittled or resented. And so you often find the ghost of the narcissist still skulking around in the mind of the victim years and years later.
Yeah. And is that, do you think, because people feel trapped in a relationship? Things are good for a while until things come together, and then they feel trapped and they can't get away from it, or
Yes, that's true. There are men who are sexually trapped by their own lusts and by their own women. There are women who are financially trapped because they have no other source of income apart from this man who revels in the power that he can exercise. Um, there is all kinds of holds that people put on each other. It can be one of guilt, can be economic, it can be sexual.
Mhm.
Um, when you're drowning, you'll use whatever means you can to get people to try and protect you from your unbearable feeling, possibly of abandonment, possibly of powerlessness, and possibly of inadequacy.
And do the narcissist type of personality, would they I would imagine that they wouldn't want to seek help. If you say, come on, babe, we need to go and get some help. I've made an appointment at the
Why
psychologist.
don't you go and get some help? You've got all the problems, you screwed up thing. You know, that's the kind of response you're going to get. Yeah,
Yeah.
you go and get the help. You've got so many issues. And by
Oh,
this time, of course, somebody's starting to believe it.
oh dear. So
Uh,
then one's self-esteem would go down. Okay, so have you got any advice apart from ditch him or her to those that are in these sort of relationships?
well, first of all, stop fearing his anger. It's often fear that controls, and as long as one of them is frightened, frightened of abandonment, frightened of sleeping alone, frightened of economic poverty, frightened of not being able to raise the children, as long as one of them is frightened, um, they will be putty in the hands. So it's very important that they get some help to get some more courage. I have encouraged people to take the plunge and live alone or take the plunge and leave. I've also encouraged people to stop being so timid and develop some assertiveness skills so that they can be firm with dignity, push back, maintain their boundaries, give warnings where appropriate. You'll
Mm.
often find that when a coward marries a selfish person, the selfish person gets worse because they're indulged. And even non-violent men can become violent if they're given too much power and too much control. They get used to it, you see. And then suddenly, when she tries to say no, they think their throat's been cut.
Which comes back to again a lack of respect.
Yes, a lack of respect, but also, can you teach somebody to command respect? To say, I won't be spoken to like that, please. I won't be treated that way again. And if you try it, here are the consequences. Bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
I'm warning you, I will institute them. Sometimes that's all that the narcissistic personality disorder needs to back off and to behave themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, oh well, so there's lots of help out there for people that are in those circumstances and that think, they need that leverage, that someone to talk to.
Yes, and if they call me up on Zoom or the phone and they start whispering, I know what's going on in the background.
Oh, yep.
And I also encourage them. I say, you're going to have to put your big girl pants on and you're going to have to stand up and speak up. Because if you don't, then it's only going to get worse.
Mm.
This kind of indulgence and this kind of what shall we call it, subjugation of yourself is not going to fix anything. You're not going to placate him by more and more submission. If anything, it'll make him worse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They need
And
to.
vice versa. Vice versa.
Mm.
We're also getting women bullying men and
Mm.
men becoming quite intimidated. It doesn't only cut one way.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. But it's about one taking responsibility, isn't it, for their own behavior and actions.
Before it's too late, before they end up having a night in prison, or before they end up doing something they will forever regret.
Mm. All right. Thanks, David. Another excellent session. Life is for living,
It's a
guys.
difficult topic, but it's real life for some people,
Yeah.
and they can contact me if they need to. I'm easy to find. It's just www.livingwisdom.co.nz, and they can get an appointment with me. And if it's urgent, we can refer them to someone in their own locality.
Mm. There you go, guys. And if you really want to dig deep, 2-week course. It's
Well,
brilliant.
actually, if you're in Auckland, your luck's in because on the 20th, um, this coming Friday and 21st Saturday, I'm actually at Horizon Church speaking about these topics and
Mm.
giving practical ways of teaching you how to make friends both with your mind and with your lives. People can register by just emailing hello@jessicaadele.co.nz. They can email you for that address or they can call me up. But email hello@jessicariddell.co.nz and she'll send you the program. And for those of you who are war chest fans, I'm also doing a workshop on the Thursday evening on that subject, the 19th of June, also at Horizon Church. So that's 7 till 9:30 on Thursday night. I'm
Excellent.
looking forward to that. It'll be a chance to really ask some tough questions. In fact, they've got a session there called Ask David, one of your hard ones.
Oh,
So
should
I'll look
record
forward
it.
to that too. Yeah.
Should record it, David.
Oh, well, I might get permission to do that too. Not my
Yeah.
seminar, but I'm speaking at it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All
All
right.
right. Thanks, guys.